Okay, no issue. Today we are going to start with we will continue the yesterday's discussion, that is about the biosphere reserves in India. We have seen that there are certain locations which have been declared as a biosphere reserves in India, and some are the part of the government of India's initiative to protect the environment and protect the biodiversity in some of the parts of India, and some areas or some what you can say the ecosystems have been declared as a what you can say biosphere reserves as a part of the United Nations Educational and Social Cultural Organization, that is UNESCO. UNESCO is Man and the Biosphere Program list, right? So we have discussed few biosphere reserves in yesterday's class. That we have discussed about the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves. We have discussed about the Nanda Devi, and we have also discussed about the Gulf of Mannar, Nokrek and Sundarban and Manas and Simli Park, right? So today we will continue with that. We have also discussed about the Dihang and the Bang Biosphere Reserve, which is in Arunachal Pradesh. Pachmadi also we have discussed yesterday, and Achan, Kamar and Amarkantak, which is located in Madhya Pradesh, that also we have discussed in yesterday's class. Fine. So today now we will be continuing with the next important biosphere reserves in India, that is called as Great Run of Kutch. So all of you know where the Kutch is located in India, where the Run of Kutch is located in India.
In Gujarat.
Yeah, it is in Gujarat. It is in Gujarat, which is located on the border between India and Pakistan. And there is one river which drains into the Run of Kutch. Anyone knows which rivers drains into the Run of Kutch? There is one river in India that when it originates, it do not, what you can say, join the sea. It drains in between. So anyone knows which is that river?
So is it Luni?
Luni, yes, Luni River. So where the Luni River ends, that is that is what you can say the Great Run of Kutch. So since it has what you can say a marshy land, it is a kind of what you can say the wetland. We know we have discussed about the wetlands. So it is having a unique type of ecosystem which is called as the Run of Kutch. So there also we have a biosphere reserve. So the Great Run of Kutch is a salt marshy. Can you see Run of Kutch? Can you all see the area where it is located? Can you see these like marshland, this blue color land here? So this blue color land is called as Run of Kutch, right? It is a very marshy land where you can see दलदलीचा हा इलाका है, and या दलदलीच्या इलाक्यामध्ये देखील एक वेगळ्या प्रकारचा इकोसिस्टम आहे. So here we can have the Run of Kutch, right? So we can all see here. So the Great Run of Kutch is a salt marsh in the Thar Desert in the Kutch district of Gujarat, and it is about 7,500 square kilometer in the area, and is reputed to be one of the largest salt desert in the world. So what is the uniqueness of this Run of Kutch? That it is one of the largest salt desert in the world. This area has been inhabited by Kutchi people. So the people who live in this area, they are called as Kutchi people. So why it is important? Because we have seen that as a part of this biosphere reserve, it not only tries to protect the rights of the flora and fauna, to protect the flora and fauna, it also tries to give the protection to the people who are inhabiting those what you can say the areas, right? So in the Run of Kutch, Kutchi people, these are the tribal people who are living this. So with the help of those Kutchi people, the biosphere reserve is being what you can say protected. So it is a part of the Kutch, Morbi, Surendranagar and Patan districts of the Gujarat. And important significance of this is that here we find wild ass. Do you remember there was a question asked in the UPSC prelims exam? We have already discussed about this question. Do you remember that? There was one question that Indian wild ass was given here. So anyways, what is this Indian wild ass? This Indian wild ass is also called as the Ghudkhur Khur or Indian onager in the local Gujarati language. Is a subspecies of the onager native to the southern Asia. So question has been asked about it. So what was that question? That they have given an example, and then they have asked that this particular what you can say the ecosystem having which type of species. That was the question. So Indian wild ass is found in the Run of Kutch. Any doubts about it? Check it.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Then going on to the next important biosphere reserves in India, that is called cold deserts. Now, cold deserts means what? Where the temperature is very low, and because of temperature is very low, there is no growth of the vegetation. That is why it is called as cold deserts. Any chances where we can find the cold desert? In which area we can find the cold deserts in India? Obviously, this can be found in the Himalayas, right? So cold deserts is a biosphere reserve Do you know अभी ये like लेह लद्दाख और like the LAC, ये जो problem चल रही है between India and China, that is actually a cold desert, right? So cold desert biosphere reserve is a biosphere reserve located in the western Himalayas region within Himachal Pradesh state in northern India. Biosphere reserves are the areas of terrestrial and coastal ecosystem which promote the conservation of biodiversity with sustainable use. That is not important, but here it is. The cold desert is located in the Himalayas, western Himalayas. There is one important national park in this cold desert that is called as Pin Valley National Park. So remember, there is Silent Valley National Park. That Silent Valley National Park is located in which state?
Kerala.
That is located in Kerala, while this Pin Valley National Park is located in Himachal Pradesh. Is a national park of the India located within the Lahaul and Spiti district in Himachal Pradesh in the northern India. So important animal in this in this area is snow leopard. Snow leopards are found in this cold deserts. So the snow leopard, also known as ounce, we have seen about it. This is also found in the other parts of the biosphere reserve, which we have seen. That is found in the. Anyone remember where the snow leopard is also found? Yesterday's class. Which biosphere reserve the snow leopard is also found? Which biosphere reserve is located in Uttarakhand? That is found in Nanda Devi, right?
Corbett.
See, in the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, not Corbett, it is in Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. Here we can see that snow leopard is found here. The same snow leopard is also found in Himachal Pradesh cold desert, right? So since Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh are located side by side, so the snow leopards are found here. So we have seen that snow leopard is a leopard which is considered as a vulnerable on the IUCN red data list. Okay. The next biosphere reserve that is called as Kanchenjunga or Kanchenjunga, which is located in the Sikkim. So Kanchenjunga is the highest mountain peak of India, that Indian, what you can say in India. Like although officially the Mount Everest, sorry, K2 or Godwin Austen is the highest mountain peak of India, but that lies in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir now. But Indian occupied, what you can say, the territory, if we see, then Kanchenjunga is the highest mountain range in India. So in this Kanchenjunga mountain peak or mountain ranges in Sikkim, we have what you can say this Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve. So which is a part of the East Himalayas. All of you know where the Sikkim is located? All of you know what is the location of the Sikkim? The Sikkim, here you can see Sikkim is located between Nepal and Bhutan. Can you see here? Between Nepal and Bhutan, there is one state here that is called as the Sikkim, and here we have the Kanchenjunga National Park. So what are the animals which are found in this Kanchenjunga National Parks? That is Nilgiri Thar and Asian elephants are found. Sorry, Pramod, mute kar thoda sa. So Eastern Himalayas मध्ये snow leopard and red pandas are found in this Kanchenjunga. What you can say the biosphere reserve, right? So red panda we have already seen about it. Red panda is also one of the endangered species as per the IUCN red data list. Then going to the next, Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve. Now where this Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve is located, that is explained here. So it is located in the Kerala, right? It is located in the Kerala and Tamil Nadu, on the border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And here you can see that Neyar, Pepara and Shendunari wildlife sanctuaries are located within these biosphere reserves. And the importance of this biosphere reserve is that it is located in the Western Ghat, also known as the Sahyadri, are the mountain range to cover the, that is what is explained here. So do you remember there was one question in last year exam that which among the following act as a, what you can say, connection between the Western Himalaya, Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats? So what was the answer of that question? Anyone remember? That is Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve. So here we have Nilgiri Thars. That is again one of the very important, what you can say, the animal species which is found in India. Nilgiri Thar is an ungulate that is endemic to the Nilgiri Hills and southern portion of the Western and Eastern Ghats in the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Despite local name, it is more closely related to the sheep of the genus Ovis than the ibex. So it is actually a kind of what you can say a sheep. It is a species of sheep which is found in the Nilgiri, what you can say the region, right? So Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve is a link between the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghats. That is the significance of this Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve, which is located on the border between Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Okay? Any doubts? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Going to the next important article, an important biosphere reserve, that is Great Nicobar. So obviously the Great Nicobar is located in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Can you all say, all of you know where the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are located? And we have seen that in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, these are divided into two groups of islands, that is Andaman groups of islands and Nicobar groups of islands. And we also seen that in Nicobar also there is again Great Nicobar, in the Car Nicobar there are various types of groups. So within that groups of Nicobar Islands, one region, that is Great Nicobar, is what you can say called as a biosphere reserve. So Great Nicobar is the southernmost and the largest Nicobar Islands of India in the north of Sumatra. That is explained here. So which is the ecosystem type is islands, because since they are the islands, the type of the ecosystem is island. And important animal which is found in this Great Nicobar is saltwater crocodile. Take a saltwater crocodile is a crocodilian native to the salt water habitats and brackish wetlands for India's coast across the Southeast Asia. It is also found in the east coast and the west coast of the India, and it is also found in Australian Micronesia. It has been listed as a least concern on the IUCN Red Data list. Least concern means what? It is not
They are
endangered.
in abundant.
Yeah, they are in
Yeah.
abundant, and it is not what you can say an endangered species. Fine. So gharial are endangered, but saltwater crocodile are not. What you can say that we don't need to we don't need to concern about the decreasing number of it, because they are in abundant. But it is again still hunted for its skin. That is what is explained here. Okay. Next is Dibru Saikhowa. Dibru Saikhowa is located in Assam district of the India, that we know. Where is Assam? All of you know. Dibru and Sikawa. So it is a type. West Eastern Hills is a type of the ecosystem here. Eastern Hills. Eastern Hills. Do you remember? These hills are the parts of the peninsula, like Eastern Hills. Which hills? The Garo, Khasi, Jaintia hills, right? So important animals which are found in this Dibru Saikhowa Biosphere Reserve is the white-winged wood duck, then water buffalo, which is found here. Then we also find the black-breasted parrotbill and the capped langur are found in this area. These are the important, what you can say, the fauna which are found in this biosphere reserve, that is Dibru Saikhowa Biosphere Reserve, which is located in the Assam state of India. Then last is Seshachalam, which are also called as Srisailam. Seshachalam is a part of the Kadapa and Chittoor district of the Andhra Pradesh. So Seshachalam hills are hilly ranges part of the Eastern Ghats in the southern Andhra Pradesh in the southeastern India. So these are part of the Eastern Ghat ecosystem, and the important animal which is found in this is called as slender lories. So slender lories are found. This is again a very important animal. It is a unique animal, are a genus of the lories native of India and Sri Lanka. Slender lories spend most of their life in trees, traveling along the top branches with slow and precise movement. It is found in tropical rainforest, scrub forest, and semi-deciduous forest and swamps. So these are found in the India and Sri Lanka, especially in the Srisailam, what you can say, Srisailam Biosphere Reserve, which is located in the Andhra Pradesh, Chittoor and Kadapa districts of Andhra Pradesh. Fine. The last is Panna. Panna National Park, which is also declared as by India as a biosphere reserve, not by the UNESCO. Panna National Park is a national park located in the Panna and Chhatarpur districts of the Madhya Pradesh. It is an area of 542 square kilometer. It was declared in 1993 as the 22nd tiger reserves of the India and the 5th in the Madhya Pradesh. Panna was given award of excellence in 2000. What you can say 20. So why it is given an excellence award, that you need to go and check it out. So important area of this what you can say important animals which are found in this Panna Biosphere Reserve is the chital, Chinkara, Sambhar, and sloth bears. So chital you can see here. Chital are found here. This is the also spotted deer chital is found in India. Then this deer is a character of the Ramayana also, right? A question has also been asked by the UPSC regarding this. Then Chinkara are also found in these areas. Then Sambhar, Sambar is again a type of what you can say the deer which is found in here. Sambar is listed as a vulnerable species as the IUCN red data list you can see here. Populations have been declined sustainably due to severe hunting, insurgency, and industrial exploitation of the habitat. Then even I guess chital is also is not declared as a vulnerable. Chital is not there. Chinkara we can see, just Chinkara is also not a example of the what you can say the red data list, but yes, Sambar is there. Sambar is what you can say listed as a vulnerable species in the IUCN red data list. And sloth bear, the sloth bear is a Myromicophagus bear species native to the Indian subcontinent. It feeds on fruits, ants, and termites. It is listed as a vulnerable on the IUCN red data list mainly because of habitat loss and degradation. So these bears number is decreasing due to the habitat loss and degradation of the forests. Okay, so these are all the biosphere reserves of India which has been what you can say declared as a part of international initiative, that is UNESCO's Man and Biosphere Reserves. And as I discussed in the yesterday that out of the total 18 biosphere reserves which are declared by the government of India, 11 are listed into the World Network of Biosphere Reserve. Fine. Any doubts about this? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Just someone has messaged me. Who is this who have messaged me? I don't understand who is messaging. Fine.
So do we need to memorize the species which are found in various biodiversity reserves?
Not memorize, but you have to revise it. Like you read it, like revise it twice or thrice. You may be able to remember it, that which plant, which animals are found in which biosphere reserves. Right. So why I'm telling this to you, these are the various biosphere reserves which are found in India, and you have to revise this before the exam. Like for example, if you are giving exam in 2021, like June 2021, if you are giving this exam, then like maybe in the middle of the May, you can what you can say, like, because I'm going to tell you that which things you need to do before the exam. So there will be certain what you can say things which you need to do before 15 days of the exam, so that you can remember it. Because even if you memorize now, after 1 year you may not be what you can say able to recall it. So but you need to know that these are the things which I am supposed to read it before 15 days of the exam. And what are biosphere reserves? These biosphere reserves are like protected for what purpose, that all you need to know. That is what I can say, that is what is expected from you. Fine.
Yes.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, so what is the next topic which we have taken in the environment while discussing the questions? I have given you certain topics which will be discussed. The first topic is that is biosphere reserves in India, that we have done with. So which topic we should go for now? Gitanjali?
Sir, the Wildlife Protection Act 1972.
Okay, so shall we go for that? Wildlife Protection Act 1972, right? Okay, so today we will do that. How much time is left now? Let me check it out. प्रमोद वेळ आहे ना आपल्याकडे अजून? ठीक आहे. So we'll go for Wildlife Protection Act 1972 because we have seen that many questions have been asked on the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Anyone knows why this Wildlife Protection Act 9 was passed in 1972? Why in 1972? Why not before that? Any guesses? Any idea? Yes. Moin, Pradnya, Akshay, माहित आहे का why it was passed in 1972? in that particular year? Sonali, census was done. Census of what? Yes, Akshay, census कशाचं झालं होतं? Check it. Fine. Can you all see this screen now? Is it visible to all of you? Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Am I audible and visible to you? Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is an act of the Parliament of India enacted for protection of plants and animal species, right? So there were some changes into the Wildlife Protection Act in 2010. So what were those changes in 2010? We will see it later on. The Wildlife Protection Act of 2010 is a statute enacted by the Government of India, Government of the Districts of Columbia. That is not for India. It is for the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is an act of the Parliament of India enacted for the protection of plants and animal species. Before 1972, India had only 5 designated national parks. Among other reforms, the act established schedules of the protected plants. Like, do you remember there was one question in the environment, Schedule 1 animals. Do you remember that question? That one particular animal was declared as a Schedule 1 animal. So what is the implication?
Yes, sir.
What does it imply? That was the question, right? Anyone remember which was that animal which is listed as a Schedule 1 animal?
Don't know the name of the animal, but whether it was endangered or not, I think that was questioned.
Okay, so tiger was also there. Like in the first statement, they have talked about tiger.
Yes, sir.
Right? Take it. Chalo. So among the other reforms, the act established schedules of.
Sir, gharials and tigers.
Sorry.
Gharials.
Yeah. Ghadials was there in the question. Tiger was in the option. That the first statement was related to the tiger, right? Anyways, so
Yes.
the act provides for the protection of the act established schedules of protected plants and animals. So it has created various schedules. Schedules means what? Various list. Schedule का मतलब होता है, it is the list of the protected plants and animals, and the hunting and harvesting these species were largely outlawed. They are not allowed. Hunting and harvesting of these species are not allowed. The act provides for protection of the wild animals, birds and plants, and for matters connected there with or ancillary or incidental thereto. It extends to the whole of India. It has 6 schedules which give varying degrees of protection. Schedule 1. So what is the Schedule 1? We will see it. We have already discussed about it. Schedule 1 and part of the Schedule 2 provides absolute protection. So what is this Schedule 1? We will see here. Schedule 1 animals. So this is the list of the Schedule 1 animals which are protected under the Wildlife Protection Act. So you can see here that Andaman wild pig, bharral, then binturong, then black buck, brow-antlered deer, cheetah, Chinese pangolin, chinkara, or Indian gazelle. Right? We have seen still Indian gazelle or chinkara, which is found in which biosphere reserve? Do you remember? Like right now we have seen that this chinkara, that is Indian gazelle, is found in the which biosphere reserve? That is in the Sheshachalam biosphere reserve, that is Srisailam, right? So all these are there. Ghadial we have seen, right? Ghadial, golden langur is also there. So Himalayan thos. So you need to just go through it, which are the animals which are listed as a Schedule 1, and these animals are not allowed to hunt or they are not allowed to use it for the commercial harvesting, right? There are various animals are there. So we can see here crocodile, sorry, ghadials, right? Crocodile, it is mentioned here. Crocodiles including the estuarine and saltwater crocodile. Then Crocodylus phosphorus and Crocodile polystris, that is also there. Tiger, we will see whether the tigers are protected here or not. Ghadial we have seen, right? So we will see also about the ghadials, whether they are located listed here or not. Yes. 1 second. Yeah, these are all the Schedule 1 animals. Fine. Schedule 1 animals which is there. Then going to the Schedule 2. Schedule 2 is also there. Schedule 1 and schedule 2 we have seen provide absolute protection. So schedule 1 and schedule 2 animals are, now here you can go ahead and check it out, which are the animals there in the schedule 2, provide absolute protection. Offenses under these are prescribed in the highest penalties, and species listed in the schedule 3 and schedule 4 are also protected, but the penalties are much lower. Schedule 5 includes the animals which may be hunted. So those animals which are allowed to be hunted, that is given in schedule 5. So let's just see which animals are allowed to be hunted. Like suppose if you have an habit of, or if you have a, what you can say, the hobby of hunting, you can go, right? Pramod, shikar करायचे का तुला? So which are allowed, like here we can see very few what you can say, the animals are allowed to hunt, right? कशाचे hunting करण्यासाठी allowed आहे बघा, rats and mice and bats and common crow. These are allowed to, what you can say, hunting in India. Fine. Except this, all are protected. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you want, you can go and hunt the rats and mice. It is not again punishable in the as per the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So schedule the specified endemic plants in schedule 6 are prohibited from. 10 minutes are left. After 10 minutes we will continue with the next session again. So the schedule 6 is about the plants. The specified endemic plants that are in schedule 6 are prohibited from cultivation and planting. The hunting to the enforcement authorities have the power to compound offenses. Under the schedule, they impose fines on the offenders. Up to April 2010, there have been 16 convictions under this act relating to the death of tiger. See, only 16 people have convicted under this act. So remember, the act was passed in 1972. In last, what you can see, 40 to 50 years, only around 10 people, only around how many? 16 people have been convicted under this act. So it's a poor implementation of the Wildlife Protection Act, and that is why the number of the tigers are reducing here. Got it? So now you can guess it out that even the UPSC is asking the question. We have seen that majority of the questions from these particular topics, from these particular issues, are directly taken from Wikipedia as it is. Am I right?
Yes.
Because when we see the Wikipedia, we can see that all, like directly the question has been asked here, that key, when an animal is scheduled, when an animal is listed as a scheduled animal, what does it mean? That was the question, or what does it imply? That was the question which was asked in last year's exam. Right? So that is why I am asking you to read this particular topic from Wikipedia. Fine? Okay. Now going to the next topic, history of this, what you can say, the plant. So the Wildlife Protection Act was enacted by the Parliament in order to conserve the animals and plants in 1972. So the various definitions are mentioned in this act. That is what is called as animal, what is called as animal article, what is called as hunting, what is the definition of the taxidermy. Taxidermy means curing, preparation and preservation of the trophies. That we know the many people, what you can say, keep the heads of the killed animal as a trophies in their, what you can say, the houses, right? कभी देखा है क्या, like पुरानी movies में दिखाया हुआ है that many, what you can say, people who used to thakur and all these people used to keep the heads of the tigers and hunted, what you can say, the animals, right, as a symbol of their bravery, as a symbol of their bravery, right? Got it? So it is also not allowed. What is trophy? That is also explained here. Then uncured trophy, that is also defined here. Then vermin and wildlife. So all these things are, what you can say, defined here. Hunting section is also given. Ownership of the section 1442 regards the ownership issues and trade licenses about the plants and animals, right? So can you capture an animal and keep it at your home, and can you become the owner of that plant or animal?
No.
But for certain plants and for certain animals, you can do, like for example, buffalo and oxes, which you can do, right? So ownership is defined in section 40 and 42. It is related to the ownership issues and trade licenses. Remember, trade licenses. You can trade some of the animals also. Ownership, any convention at the international level related to the trade of the flora and fauna? Do you remember any convention which is there at the international level, which makes guidelines and protocols related to the trade of the flora and fauna? Yes.
Site, sir.
Okay, Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species. Okay, there is one more convention that is called traffic. Is it there?
Yes, yes, sir.
What is the
Yes,
full form
sir.
of traffic? We will also see that, right? So next we will see about that traffic, right? After once we are done with this Wildlife Protection Act, right? So penalties are also prescribed in section 51, and while the ownership and the trade licenses are discussed in section 40 and 42. These are the important sections which you need to just check it out. Then you can see amendments. The code has been amended several times. This Wildlife Protection Act has been amended. It was amended in 1982, 1986, 1991, 1992, 2002, and in 2006. So Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2006. Do you remember that there were many questions have been asked about this 2006 amendment, right? Changes which were made in the Wildlife Protection Act, the rules and what I can say, the rules of the protection of wildlife in India. That was question asked in many exams, right? So I'll directly go to the Wildlife Protection Act 2006 now. Hmm. 2002 is mentioned here, which is very important. Okay. So for the offenses relating to wild animals included in Schedule 1 and Part 2 of the Schedule 2, and those relating to hunting and altering the boundaries of the sanctuary or national park, the punishment and penalty has been enhanced. So the minimum imprisonment prescribed is 3 years, which may extend to 7 years, or with a minimum of fine of rupees 10,000. So that is explained here. So you just read it out. What is the 2002 amendment? 2006 amendment also you need to check. Here it is mentioned that offenses related to trade and commerce in trophies, animal articles derived from certain animals attracts a term of imprisonment up to 3 years and a fine of rupees up to 25,000 rupees. Fine. But in spite of all these laws and in spite of all these acts, why people still indulge in hunting and killing of these animals? Any idea?
There's a huge demand and a huge profit by doing this.
Yeah. So you can see here the offense is like here the fine is only 25,000. So suppose if a person indulge in what you can say smuggling of these, what you can say the animals or trading in these animals, he earns huge profit. So out of that huge profit, if he is supposed to pay only 25,000 rupees, then he is ready for that. So like, and again, he will not be caught again and again. He will be caught like once in a life. So people engage such type of killings and activities because of the low penalties and low imprisonment. So what is your solution? What do you what you can say suggest for what you can say decrease in the number, or what you can say decrease in the number of hunting and killing of these animals? So shall we, do you think that only acts or only laws can be what you can say deterrent for killing of these animals or hunting of these animals?
No, the
No,
area
sir.
should be more protected, I think, with more protection.
Okay, what are the other ways of what you can say?
Sir, for example, so recently, our in India, the tiger increasing the population of the
Yeah, as per the
tigers.
recent census, the number of the tiger is increased. Yes.
So because of no, they are facilitating the cameras, digital translation cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So increasing technology also, it can avoid so many kind of
No, actually, use of technology or use of camera helps in what you can say identifying the numbers of the tigers in the wild. Because what was happening earlier when the manual census or manual counting of the tiger used to happen, there used to be many like many tigers which were there in the wild, but those were not detected. Those were not what you can say found, right? Because if you do the manual census, then there may be many possibilities. Some of the tigers are not what you can say that has not been seen, or those are not what you can say those were what you can say visible, or those were what you can say seen. But due to the use of cameras, due to the use of digital technologies, even those tigers which were not what you can say visible, or which have not been seen by the people, that have been what you can say captured by the what you can say the camera. So the number of increase in the tiger in the census is because what you can say, the efficiency of census. What I'm asking, that what solution you need to have to reduce the hunting and killing of such wildlife or wild animals and plants? That is what my question. Can only laws be deterrent to the people to kill and protect the animals in the wild? That is my question.
Yeah, awareness should be provided and strict punishment should be done.
Then we have seen here that the act was passed in 1972, and till now only 16 people have got convicted. So what do you think? Why such a, what you can say, low number of people got convicted in the law? And I can see punishment is there. Yes, of course you say that there should be stricter punishment. Like instead of 3 years, we should make it a 10 years. And we should make, like, instead of 25,000, if we charge around, what you can say, 25 lakh, then people may, what you can say, not indulge in such type of activities. Effective implementation of the law as well as stricter punishment is there. But apart from this, if awareness that why these animals are important, why the hunting and killing of these animals is not going to sustainable, how it is going to impact on our future life as well as the future generation, if that is, what you can say, explained to the people, then only they're like, you need to change the mindset of the people. Laws cannot be only deterrent or